I'm a police officer with the Albuquerque Police Department. I've been working for APD since 2012, about 4 years. I work here at the Southeast Substation most of the time. Obviously I'm not doing my normal job today, but normally I'm a field patrol officer. Work swing shift, so afternoon shift, 4 p.m. to midnight.
I'm a patrol officer with the Albuquerque Police Department, working the Southeast Area Command.
I had more of a corporate type job before, and I'd always wanted to be a cop. I finally got the chance to about 4 years ago, and it's really proven just to be, it's a lot of fun. Every day is completely different, which is one of the things I love about it. No 2 days will ever be the same.
From getting dressed prior to work, the pride you feel with it, coming into shift, helping out folks that you wouldn't meet at any other point in time, but that one critical incident in their life. The most difficult part is also the part that brings the most reward.
You know, most of the stuff you deal with is stuff you kind of anticipate, I think. You know, you're arresting criminals, you're going to like family disputes, and you're in there to sort of to try to bring some calm to the situation, because normally it's when people are stressed out. But every now and then when it's stuff that maybe involves kids and things, like that's tough. And it's just, you know, you're there at the worst times in somebody's life, and some of it's stuff that you didn't necessarily, you know, want to see or be a part of, but you need to be, because somebody has to be able to be there to be the resource to, you know, to try to help those situations out, to get people to safer places. So even though it's tough, those are oftentimes some of the most rewarding things too, when you can really make a difference to somebody's life or day, or, you know, that moment anyway.
Take for instance a situation we had about a week ago, where a mother had left her child in the vehicle, and a man decided he was going to steal that vehicle. The mother was only steps away. And then, as we're out looking for the child, looking for the vehicle, you know, I run into the father, and he's frantic. I'm a father too. So then that's where it becomes really hard, because I can only imagine being in his shoes if that happened to one of my kids.
The thing that's probably the most frustrating, though, that I wish we could see a change with, is that we tend to deal with the same people over and over again. The recidivism rate is huge. We'll have people that we've arrested. I know there was a couple of guys that last year we arrested. Like here in this area command, the guys I work with, that we were involved with just ourselves, 3, 4, 5 times for the same stuff. Guys who stole a car, catching a stolen car, you know, whatever else was involved, drugs and stuff. They're back out on the street 2 or 3 days later, or less, and you're catching them again. And so that gets a little bit frustrating. It's part of how the system works, unfortunately, but it's tough when you're dealing with the same people over and over again, or particularly when it's people who you know are violent, who you know that you see an escalation in the violence of what they're doing, and yet they're still right back out. And we're back to dealing with them again a week later, 2 weeks later. I think that there's a tendency with the media to maybe sensationalize things a little bit, just because they obviously want to draw interest, and the more sensational things are, the more interesting it tends to be. You know, you start to see that with those, I don't know what they call it, those little kind of commercials for tonight's news, and not necessarily just related to APD or police work or anything in particular, just generally the way that they're going to market. Watch the 10 o'clock news tonight is watch this like really scary, horrible thing happened live tonight at 10. And I think the push to sell ad space to get viewers probably encourages a certain amount of sensationalism, but Having said that, as long as what they say is true and, relatively fair, I don't have any issue with it. And they serve an important purpose. I mean, the media, I think it's often been sort of said that the media is like the fourth branch of government. They monitor what goes on so that people know about it, and it's absolutely necessary. And what we do is public. We are public servants. We work for the community, the city, for you guys. You're our bosses in the end, so you have every right to know what goes on, and the media is the one who brings that to you. There have been a couple of times when I've had the chance, and it's not every day, and it's not necessarily all that often, but where you've really gotten through to somebody. Oftentimes it's a younger person who, maybe is going down a bad road, and you can see it happening. A lot of times you'll see where somebody is making worse and worse decisions, and from my perspective as an outsider who just met them for the moment and doesn't, see them every day, you can kind of, when you can't explain to somebody like, hey, I can kind of predict what's going to happen because I've seen this happen to other people, and this road leads to a certain place. The couple of times that you get through to somebody, it's really, really rewarding. And, the few times where I've been able to sort of, or had to step in, and you're able to make a child safer or something, that really makes you feel good, because it really is the work that I think most of us came into this line of work to do. You want to be able to help people. So I guess younger people tends to be where it's most rewarding. When the person's later in life and they've made a life's worth of decisions and they just decided to be a criminal, they're grown-ups who've made their decisions. But when they're still kids and you can help them, that really is really rewarding.
So life is made up of choices. Every choice we have, the only difference between me and folks that I have to arrest are the choices we make. So if you make it a habit of thought, a habit of action to make a choice that is good, that is full of integrity, full of honor, you're going to keep yourself off of the darker path.
Realize that the decisions you make affect your future. Every time, as you go through life, every time you sort of open a door into another part of life, that's something that is a decision you're going to deal with forever. So, when you start to get involved in drugs, or if you start to, simply not going to class, making friends with people and having a group of friends of people who aren't concerned with their future, who are making bad decisions, those things have a tendency to take you down a certain path that maybe, or definitely 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, you're going to wish you had it made. I've sat down and spoken to a lot of people who are just in a bad way in life. People who are drug addicts, who are getting caught stealing cars, breaking into houses, a lot of times to finance that drug habit. Who will tell you, God, I wish I could be 17, 18 years old again and make the decision not to start using drugs, to go to class. Unfortunately, now it's 10, 15 years later, and it's really difficult to make those changes then, and you can't undo those things. And it's a lot harder to try to get yourself back on the right track than if you had never made those mistakes. But I've had that conversation probably a dozen times where people are like, gosh, I just wish I hadn't done this, but now it's like a demon that haunts me, and I'm stuck with it all the time.